All right, everybody, welcome to Facebook Live.
Okay, we're back on Vancouver Cooperative Radio, CFRO 100.5 FM on Talk Recovery. That was a great interview with Erica Spiegelman. Check out that book, Rewired. Every now and then we get people that seem to be really sort of on point or realistic with the process of change. I really appreciate, her comment on, when doctor or her clients come in and they've been prescribed medication and as someone who's not a doctor myself, but I've been asked that question before, and by no means do you ever want to step in the way of any doctor, but, for her to just, get some history, like she's basically asking all the questions the doctor should be asking before just throwing a prescription like that out, like, the duration of addiction, substances specific, and it just seems to be the missing link sometimes when people get on. It's just people think, here, no, you need this for a long time, so just take it. It doesn't matter what your history is or which way you're going or what your resources are, and I think that was an important point as well. But we're back in studio and we're back live. Facebooking it live with our guest today, Navid. He's in to share about himself and his personal story. I just noticed you in studio on our break there, you're doing some stretches. Hey, just getting loose for the show or what?
I'm just trying to let go of some of the energy right now. I was feeling a little bit nervous, and this is my first time on a radio show and speaking, and I just did a couple stretches, just a little bit of breathing.
So what is that? Because I stretched because I knew I was going to go sit, for another 3-hour baseball game in a tight, stadium seat. So I stretched out, right? So I don't get all tight. What does it have to do with getting rid of anxiety and emotional stuff?
Well, for me, I always try to connect my mind, body, and soul. So whether that's like physical exercise, whether that's spiritual, whether that's praying, or, whatever the case is, I tell myself, I give myself these like positive affirmations, and the breathing kind of helps me just let go of whatever I'm feeling in that moment. So whether it's anxiety, whether it's anger, whether it's like feeling depressed or sad, I always like set my intention on the inhale, and then on the exhale, I set my intention on letting go.
That's like yoga stuff, right?
That's where I learned it from.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I don't know a lot about, like, I know you do some personal training.
That's right.
Right. Do you practice a lot of yoga as well?
I do. I incorporate, I have my black belt in martial arts. I got that from a young age.
Oh, wow.
And so my personal training, I offer yoga, a little bit of kickboxing. So there's a fun aspect to it. I'm a certified personal trainer, so there's a weight training aspect to it. So I just try to mix it up, and I try to add a little touch of spirituality in it as well, because, for a long time in my life and my experience, whatever I tell myself, that's kind of the way it goes.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. That's awesome. Usually it's like, I'm a personal trainer, hit this bag as hard as you can, and that's what we're doing today. That's awesome that there's like all of these other elements and components to it. I mean that's just it. It's not just, well, I guess if you just want to, work on specific muscle groups and have a certain physique, you would focus on that. But when you're working with someone, say in recovery or that suffered through addiction, it's good to be trained and to practice all these other elements, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I was driving down, like, you get this anxiety, right? Probably because I was a little bit late, but, and it's tight. And I couldn't imagine not only just, relaxing and doing the show, but anything else I'd have to do with that anxiety, and to have ways and means to sort of let it go and deal with it. And just like you said, be in the moment. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background then. What got you to this space that we're in today?
Hey, I don't think we have enough time on the show for that, but I can give you guys like a shorter story of it. So I moved with my family here when I was 5. We immigrated from Iran. We came as political refugees. So we came here not knowing how to speak the language, work, like any of that stuff. And my parents worked very, very hard, and I remember that from a young age. And we struggled. Like, we lived in a motel for the first 5 months. We struggled, and a lot of my childhood memories was my parents, getting into it and fighting, and being disowned by their family back home for making that bold move And that bold move, guess what? It was for me to have a better life,
Right.
to get away from the religion and the politics and all that. So I can say clearly from a young age I felt a little bit different. And I found an outlet for that. I found something that was positive, and that was martial arts. And so training, it became a practice of mine. I did twice a week. I became a black belt. I became a BC national champion. And my parents supported me and my friends supported me. But deep down, there was still something missing inside. And, you know, later I found out what that something was.
What was it?
Drugs.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed doing drugs. And I enjoyed living a certain lifestyle where I didn't really care about tomorrow. And let's just say I wasn't practicing meditating and breathing so much. I was acting more on impulse and greed and, you know, wanting money and girls and, you know, that sort of thing. And, you know, the behaviors behind that, the people I associated myself with, you know, it landed me in jail. And I spent about a year in jail. And with that year in jail was the first time that I did not use drugs. And so when I got out, I thought I was fixed. You know, never going to any 12-step meetings, never knowing about recovery. I just thought like, hey, I didn't use drugs for a year. I'm good.
Right, like it was all you deciding just not to use drugs. Had nothing to do with being incarcerated.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's funny the way things work because when I got out in 2010 and trying to get clean on my own, and you know what, it wasn't all bad because the lifestyle changed. And for me, like that was the big thing, was the lifestyle. So the friends, cut them off, people, places I used to go, things I used to do, that all changed. But inside, the void that I felt when I was a little kid and you know, feeling different and like, why am I here, and like all these different things, and like what's my purpose, those started to come up. And so, you know, I had a different void. I had a, you know, and money couldn't fill it and girls couldn't fill it, and you know, I found myself burning it down multiple times and trying to get clean multiple times on my own, and found myself ending up at Harbor Light Detox. And I'd never been to a detox, I'd never been to treatment, like I said, never been to any meetings, and so for me this was like the bottom. You know, people talk about bottoms and whatnot, because at this point there was, you know, family wasn't around, I didn't have any friends, I didn't have any money. And
How old were you at this point?
I just turned 26. Literally just turned 26, and I was in detox. And you know, having a criminal record and you know, having gone through some of the struggles that I'd gone through, I felt extremely hopeless, and life was not looking so good.
That's, you know, I was just thinking, that's a lot of pressure. What you said earlier, like how your parents made that move, like for you, right? All for you. And I mean, did that, whether it was like actually, you know, said to you like that or not, but there must have been a knowing, right? And, you know, are you doing everything that you're supposed to be doing? Are you living the life that, you know, your parents would be proud of? And as soon as you make one mistake, you know, was that a lot of pressure on you?
Absolutely.
Right.
Whether they knew it or not, I felt a lot, very, very much responsible for them being disowned. I mean, like, you think about this. My mom has 9 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
I got uncles that are around my age. My dad has 6 brothers and sisters. So just think of the cousins. The entire family is back home.
Right.
Because you can't just leave. Like, we escaped from Iran. We lived in Turkey for 2 years waiting for visa, like living underground.
Yeah.
You know, my parents had to learn Turkish as well. My dad at one point could speak Arabic, Turkish, Farsi, Kurdish, and then had to come here and learn English. So
Wow.
I you know, I as much as I admired them, respected them, loved them for making that move, it's like a big part of me always felt like I'll never be the doctor they wanted me to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'd never be the lawyer they wanted me to be, because I had, you know, I had my own idea and my own people that I looked up to. And
Matt, I mean, it's a common story. You hear it quite a bit, where it's like, you know, people come for the opportunity, and sometimes without appreciating what opportunity is, it can be overwhelming, right? And you can get sucked into that freedom and that, you know, that opportunity, so to speak, and not by your own fault, but just, you know, through pressures and systems that are in motion. Like, you know, that's a different environment to come from and then land here and expect to do everything perfectly, eh? You know, like that's crazy, man. So when you got involved in using for the very first time, what was the circumstances? Was it a peer pressure thing? Was it, you know, what happened there?
The first time that I used, I didn't like it. You know how most people, first time they use, they smoke a joint, whatever, something like that. I did ecstasy for the first time and I cried. I'm not kidding. It was my birthday, my 16th birthday. First time doing drugs, I did hardcore ecstasy, a full cap. I cried, I bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
I bawled my eyes out for an hour and a half. My best friend didn't know what to do. I had like a reverse reaction.
Right.
I had all this pent up tension and bottled feelings, and my parents were divorcing at that time, and so, you know, there was a lot of things going on at home and at school. I was getting in trouble, and you know, I had a terrible experience with my first time using. I didn't like it, but you know what? That hole that I felt inside of why am I in this place, and like, you know, what am I supposed to be doing and all that, it went away for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked.
It's funny, the experiences, eh? I mean, yeah, I'd say the same thing, where it wasn't pleasurable, it wasn't blissful, it didn't make me feel happy, but it seemed to remove me temporarily from the weight and the pressures and the things I thought I was supposed to be and be doing. It removed me from that for such an amount of time that it was worth trying again. And then again. And then again. And then we got good at it, didn't we?
Absolutely.
Hey? Then we learned how to not cry every time.
Absolutely.
Hey? And you know, that's it. And there's that sense of control that we sometimes find, right? That we're able to control how we feel and how we, you know, how we think about ourselves with substances. And years down the road, you know, like you said, you're around the corner of detox. Tell us about the change. Tell us about what happened next.
After I was in detox, wonderful man by the name Don M. He helped me get into the last door, and I had no experience like with treatment or anything like that. But I think for me, step one started in there because usually people go to detox for a week, 10 days. He was nice enough to let me stay an extra week. I was there for about 2 weeks. And the reason for that was because I needed funding to get into this place. And after the conversation I had with him, he and I both didn't feel comfortable with him letting me out after the first week, because I was gonna go use, and that would have like ended my chances of getting in there. So I feel like there were so many pieces of the puzzle that led up to me to get to that place. And after I got to the door, which I just want to give a shout out to and thank them for giving me an opportunity to make friends and learn how to stay clean and practice these principles and go to these meetings. And you know, from there, I think that my life just took a shift for the better. And Erica, who was so interesting to talk to her, just listen her talk just before this, and she was talking about habits. You know, give yourself 90 days to a year and whatnot. And I remember after about 30 days, I told myself everything that I'd done in my life, everything from being obsessive to girls, to money, to going to the gym, to doing steroids and you know, doing all these shady things. It's like, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do everything the absolute. I'm going to learn yoga. I'm gonna instead of popping a pill, I'm going to take a breath. You know what I mean? Instead of punching some guy's lights out, you know, I'm going to talk to them. I'm gonna ask why they said what they said. I'm gonna let them know how I feel. I'm not gonna assume things, right? I'm not gonna look for the worst in people. I'm gonna try to help somebody. I'm gonna try to get closer to God, whatever God meant. Because I had a lot of theories. You know, I was born Muslim. I tried to become a Christian. I went to Buddhist. You know, I got Allah tattooed on my back. You know what I mean? I was walking around with Allah tattooed on my back. I had a rosary and Buddha beads. And I think that those religions are good. It's all love. It's all good. But at the same time, it's like I was confused, man. I was walking down the street. People are like, "What is this guy? What's he doing?" And so I think the door allowed me to just be me for a little bit. And I think those people just accepted me for who I was, man. Because the truth was, I wasn't this tough guy. I like to listen to Justin Bieber, and I like tweezing my eyebrows. And that's the truth. Be real with you guys, man.
Sweet. That is awesome.
Okay, Nav, I got a couple questions for you.
All right.
So, just full disclosure, Nav has been actually helping me with personal training, which has been a great experience. And so I can attest to the fact that he sort of mixes in his counseling skills with his personal training skills, which is pretty amazing as a client to experience that. So I wanted to ask you, what are you filling your life with today? Like, what are your hopes, dreams, and goals for, you know, say the next year or the next 5 years?
I'm just trying to live out my purpose. I think that God has given me a gift to speak and inspire and motivate people. And, you know, I work with youth. And it's funny because just like that first time I tried dope when I was 16, I can see so much of myself in these guys. And so when I talk to them, I can just relate on a deeper level. And that's one way that I feel like I'm living out my purpose. And the other way is like a physical sense. And, you know, like all my life, like even when I was in jail, like working out saved my life. It allowed me to, like, you know, have a clear head inside while doing my time and not getting caught up in all the political stuff that went on in there. And you know, like I just feel like sharing and you know, I was just asked to go to Prince George, and I went to Prince George and I spoke and I talked about my story, and I barely passed high school. And people are asking me to go and share and speak, and you know, I'm just thinking like, man, if that's not some kind of higher power thing, like I don't know what is. And these opportunities are just they're coming, and I'm just walking through, and it's like one after another. And even coming here and being asked to speak, I feel like that's such a gift in itself, because nobody was asking me to talk. Nobody was asking me to go over to their place and talk about, you know, meditation and helping people and breathing and, you know, practicing spirituality. Like that wasn't the case for me.
So when you think about your life, like when you were in that place, when you were at Harbor Life Detox, and you thought, this is the bottom, this is like what is happening kind of thing. And then you think about your life now, like how have your thoughts shifted and your, do you know what I mean? Like there's a definite process of, like, for myself in addiction, I would never have thought that the solution or part of the solution was helping others. Like, where do you see, like, your thinking? How has your thinking changed from that time in detox to now, to today?
I found a pattern that I have. I'm really good at making a decision. I'm excellent at making my mind, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do this. Because I stopped using drugs many times on my own. And so when I was in Harbor Light, I told myself, I'm just gonna make another decision here, and I'm not gonna follow through. I'm not gonna do the commitment. And so I told myself right there, not only am I gonna make this decision, I'm gonna make this commitment. I'm gonna do anything and everything that I can, just like I did anything and everything I could. Because I gave 110% to my addiction. And I wasn't planning on selling my recovery, like even 1% shorter than that. And so in detox, after speaking to countless numbers of people telling me like that they've been coming and going and more pain and more suffering, I made a decision. I told myself I'm going to follow through with that decision, and I'm just going to do everything differently, and I'm going to listen to people, and I'm going to ask for help. And I truly believe step one started in detox for me, not even knowing.
And ironically, that detox is in this area, correct? So
we were driving through here, and I was telling Francis there was this boxing place I used to train at, Astoria, and the owner of that place, 80 years old, takes the bike from North Van every day too. And we saw him, and I said, I know exactly where he's going. And Astoria is actually a liquor store. Talk about a New York vibe. You walk into this liquor store, and you go in, and it's this underground boxing gym, and it just brought back so many memories for me. And you know, so many times I got punched in my nose, which why it doesn't look so good. And you know, it's step one all over again. People using, like I seen some guy smoking crack right out front. I went outside, I thought Darren was out front. This guy's taking a hoot. You know what I mean? And it's just like step one. And I just feel so, I'm just in a place where I'm just so blessed, and I want to help. I truly want to help from the bottom of my heart. And I feel like the more that I'm going through life, the more that I love helping people that want help. Because that's the thing. When somebody doesn't want, I didn't want help for many years. You couldn't tell me different. I didn't want to find God. I didn't want to help people. I couldn't even help myself. But as soon as I realized what step one was, and it was right in my face, and I asked for help, man, doors just keep opening up.
okay, we gotta go, but I want to just ask one quick thing. If someone's listening to this and they're struggling and they're still in their addiction, is there any message that you would like to send to them today, or to let them know?
Yeah, hold on.
Thank you so much, Navid, for your personal story. That is amazing. We do personal stories every Thursday after our main guest, and thanks for watching. Want to remind everybody, the world's largest clean and sober dance during any Pride is taking place on August 6th. It's called Intoxicated. It's our 5th anniversary. Yeah, I hear an echo too. I'm not too sure what that is. But anyway, so we are doing that at Clean, Sober, and Proud, Intoxicated, August 6th. And it's 5 p.m. till 11 at the corner of Butte and Davie. And also we have, there we go, my microphone's echoing. Thank you so much, Darren. And we also got the Recovery Capital Conference of Canada. We are organizing at the Anvil Center. It's on September 7th and 8th. You can go to recoverycapitalconference.com for more information about the conference. And it's Canada's premier addiction conference for recovery. And we've got a delegation from Portugal coming that's going to talk about what Portugal did 15 years ago. They had one of the world's worst mortality rates for overdoses, and now they have one of the lowest mortality rates in the world. And we're going to ask them what they did. So Portugal will be in Canada on September 7th and 8th for Recovery Week BC. And that's going to be ended off with Recovery Day, which is going to be on September 9th. So we got lots to do. Talk Recovery is going to have a booth at Recovery Day. Talk Recovery is going to be involved with the conference. I'm going to be involved with the conference and Recovery Day just because I love doing that kind of stuff. And thanks for watching. And you can tune in live on 100.5 on the radio as well. And Darren's going to close us off, but I'm going to pass on the mic. Here you go, Darren.